Thanks, guys. Thank you all so much. Beautiful worship set this morning. Hope everybody is doing well. I was thinking about our senior adult banquet back there. It got me tickled. Troy Richards told me a long time ago, he said, Generation Z are terrible age guessers. He said, they'll never get a job at the carnival guessing somebody's age. He said, that won't work for them. He said, if you turn 50, they'll guess you anywhere from 50 to 80. They'll miss it by 30 years, and they do. And I ask them sometimes at school, I'll be like, how old do you think I am? And they'll go, 75. And they do it all the time, and so they can't do it very well. And I remember about 7 or 8 years ago, we were pulling into the Kentucky State Fair, and I had a group of students in the back of the Suburban, and I think Sandy was up front. They were all my co-teacher, and I got all of our passes. We have passes for all of our teams. And I pull in, and the lady walks up, and she says, hey, sir, have I got good news for you today? I said, what's that? She said, today's Senior Citizen Day at the fair. You get in free. And I was like, thank you. And I look in the rearview mirror, and everybody's going. And about 10 years ago, I go into the A&W Long John Silver's at the Bardstown exit at exit 25 on the Bluegrass Parkway. Michaela and I were going to pick up a sheep, and we go in, and I ordered some food, and the lady looked at my order, and then she looked up at me, and she said, senior citizen discount? And I said, I don't know what the limit is. And so she just hits it and goes, and Michaela was like, she gave you a senior citizen discount. I said, honey, people who eat Long John Silver's get the senior citizen discount at age 40. Just so you know, all right? All right, this morning we kick off a brand new mini-series. We've tracked through 3 different mini-series through this, and so this is the third and final one as we move toward Easter, right? And so the first one was listening to the King. We started out studying some of the parables of Luke where Jesus is giving us instructions. We're learning from him, and we're learning what it's like to be a follower of Christ, and we kind of moved into that process. And then the second mini-series that we went through was called Living in the Kingdom. And living in the kingdom, we looked at parables that taught us what it's like to live in the kingdom. And we covered a whole lot of things that were lost and things that were found and the reaction of heaven on things that were found. And this one that we move into now is the kingdom and the cross, because we're moving toward Easter. And so that's the process that we're following. That's where we are. We're still in Luke. We're still looking at parables. But what we've looked at over the past several weeks, we looked at who is our neighbor. We looked at a shepherd who searches for that one lost sheep and leaves that 99 that are safe. He goes after that one. We looked at the woman who lost a coin, misplaced a coin. It really wasn't gone anywhere, but it was overlooked. It was dropped, and so she searched everywhere until she found it, and there was rejoicing when it was found. Then we looked at the parable of the prodigal son, right? And we really studied the reaction of the father. We studied the reaction of the older brother. And we find ourselves in that parable in all 3 of those from time to time. We also looked at a kingdom that values souls over storage space, right? And we also looked at how we are called to be rich toward God. And all of those things culminated in how we live in the kingdom. And now we changed the focus a little bit. Now we go with a little bit of a shift. Jesus is no longer simply describing the kingdom. Now he is beginning to confront those who think they're already a part of it. Okay? So hold on to that statement for just a moment. He begins to confront those who think they're already a part of it. And so I know some of you can hear that and go, I think I'm part of it, right? And so, yeah, that's right. And so how do we respond? And how do we react to that? That notion that we think that we're a part of the kingdom. The parables that we're going to look at between now and Easter are a little sharper. They're a little more exposing. They're a little more personal. Jesus, if you track his steps, he is on the move toward Jerusalem. He's making his final approach. He understands fully what's happening. Right? He completely understands what's taking place and what the process is. The disciples still a little bit clueless about what's going to happen and how it's all going to go. They remain such until as we see post Easter before they really start getting a grip on what's going on. But Jesus is going toward Jerusalem. Well, one thing that has to happen in this is he's rejected. All right? You understand that? The people reject him as Messiah. They reject him as the king. That's how he gets to the cross, right? And so that's where he's headed. He's headed toward the cross. He's headed toward rejection. He's coming to the place where he lays down his life for us. And in that process, he begins to help us see and help us understand the kind of heart that can receive the love that he's trying to share and what it means. And so that's where we are this morning, and that's where we're going to be. As we jump into Luke chapter 18, we're going to look at this in verses 9 through 14. The parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector. We've talked a lot about tax collectors in this, right? We've reviewed this a lot, and so by now, when I say tax collector, you should see that as a pretty low level deal, right? This is a guy, the sinners and tax collectors, and so all these things are problematic. And so this is a Pharisee and a tax collector. Now, notice what he says in verse 9, because we'll come back to that and we'll look at it, but I'm just going to read it all right now. To some who were confident of their own righteousness and looked down upon everyone else, Luke says this, right? Jesus told this parable. 2 men went up to the temple to pray. One a Pharisee, the other a tax collector. The Pharisee stood by himself and prayed, God, I thank you that I am not like other people, robbers, evildoers, adulterers, or even like this tax collector. I fast twice a week. I give 1/10 of all I get. But the tax collector stood at a distance. He would not even look up at heaven. But he beat his breast and said, God, have mercy on me, a sinner. And now Jesus tells that, and then his response is this. I tell you that this man, rather than the other, went home justified before God. For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and all those who humble themselves will be exalted. Wow. Wow. He tightened the focus, didn't he? It's making the hair stand up on my arms, right? I mean, this is powerful. You could almost just close this up and we can just go home. The first sentence tells us everything. Luke says, to some who were confident of their own righteousness and looked down upon everyone else, Jesus told this parable. Can you almost get a sense of that? That he's, he at the very opening of the Gospel of Luke, he says, I carefully researched this, that he talked to eyewitnesses. And so that people said, oh, yeah, you got to write this in there. I remember this so clearly. He said this right to the Pharisees. They were standing right there. And this is why. It's because they thought a lot of themselves. They thought a lot of themselves. And so to them, he said this parable. This parable is not for obvious sinners. Let me say that again. This parable is not for obvious sinners. This parable is for confident religious people. This parable is for confident religious people. And if we're not careful, all of us in this room can become that. A confident religious person. Don't forget that. It is for people who believe they are spiritually secure. And it is for people who compare themselves upward. Okay? Now, this is not a message of doubting salvation and saying, oh, my. No. This is a gut check, right? It's simply a gut check. It's simply a how do you behave? How do you think about yourself and how do you look at things, right? Now, let's break it down. There's 2 men, very simple. It's very simple. 2 men go up to the temple to pray. One's a Pharisee, one's a tax collector. Why did he pick a tax collector? They hate him. They hate him. They think there's no way for them. There's no hope for them. They're too far gone, right? There is nothing that can be done for them. That's why he picked it, right? He didn't say this guy that was, unfaithful or, whatever. He didn't even say murderer. He said tax collector. And the reason he used tax collector is because in the Pharisees' mind, that's the worst. One respected, one despised. One admired, one rejected. Very, very definitive, right? One religious, one notorious. This is what he picked. But both pray. Both pray. Now, if I could put this in a nutshell, if I could put this message in one sentence, the cross that we're moving toward, okay, is not received by the impressive, right? It is not received by the impressive. It is received by the humble. And this is a message of humility. This is a message for the Pharisees, for those religious people that think they got it all together, to hear this and go, maybe I'm not so all that. Maybe I'm not so all that. The first point this morning is this: the danger of spiritual confidence, right? The danger of spiritual confidence. Look at the Pharisees' prayer. Let's break it down. God, I thank you that I am not like other people. Right? I thank you that I am not like other people. Right? Well, he's following the model prayer here, right? How do we approach God? With thanksgiving. So he's being thankful. Right? I mean, he's speaking to God. Look at this. I thank you that I am not like other people, robbers, evildoers, adulterers, or even this guy. You know him. He stinketh, right? He's speaking to God, but he's focused on himself. You see what he's doing? He's comparing himself upward. He's speaking to God, but he's focused on himself. I fast, I give, I am not like them. A little better. That's what he's saying, right? I'm a little better than most. I'm just a little better than most. So if you look at his prayer, it's technically thankful. It's functionally comparative. He measures himself against others, and he finds comfort in the comparison. I'm a little better than most, and I'm a lot better than him. I'm thankful for that. I'm being a little bit hard in this, but here's the thing. Truthfully, this is easy to do. Right? It can be easy to do. Right? I mean, I get this because I've been pastoring churches now for 28, 29 years. Right? And so it would be easy for me to look at other people in the community and say, well, I am not out somewhere on Saturday night, and I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm not like them. It's easy to do, isn't it? You can look around and say, well, I see a lot of people in the world that's a lot worse off than I am. I see a lot of people out there that's in a lot worse shape than I am. At least I'm not doing that. At least I'm trying to do what I'm supposed to do. See how it's easy to slide into that. It's easy to slide into that comparison. Here's the danger. The danger in that makes us feel self-righteous. The danger in that makes us feel self-righteous. And comparison makes us do that. And the problem is that it never makes us repentant. And we don't see what's required. That's the hard thing. The Pharisee's not lying. Okay? Understand that. The Pharisee is not lying here. He is not telling fibs. He probably does fast. He probably does tithe. He probably does live morally. He probably does all of these things. But what has happened is he has confused moral performance with humble obedience. And that's the danger. That's the danger. It's okay if you're doing the right thing. It's okay if you're trying to be the right way. It's okay if you're following those things. But you got to understand, that puts you here when somebody else is there, but you ain't nowhere close. Okay? You're nowhere close. Somebody explained to me, it's easy for a man's brain sometimes to understand ladders, right? If you work with ladders, you've got a 6-foot ladder, an 8-foot ladder, you've got a 12-foot ladder, a 16-foot ladder, right? And so when Steve has to work on these projectors, we all pray because we've got this ladder in there that reaches barely with him standing on the top, fully extended with his arms to reach that thing, right? And that's all we got. That's all we got. You want to be as righteous as Christ? The ladder don't fit in this building. The ladder truck won't work. The space shuttle won't work. You're nowhere close, right? And so what happens is we get up on our two-step ladder to get into the pantry, and we think we're just all that in a bag of chips. And it's nothing. We're just a little bit better than the footstool, right? The two-step ladder that we keep in our utility room is just a little bit better than the footstool, right? And that's all we are. And so we fail to understand, because I have all kinds of problems. I may not be where, and I may be doing what I'm supposed to do, and I may be obedient in some regards, but I'm not perfect and nowhere close to it. And the moment that I start thinking that I am is the moment that I'm in big trouble. We look at the tax collector next. The posture of the humble. You see, this is the hard thing, right? This is, and you have to understand this. Sometimes we just plow right in those front doors of the church. We just roll right in, and we're happy to do it, right? But there are people out there that the hardest thing to do is park in the parking lot and walk in these doors. Because, and part of it is temple-brained, okay? They've been taught that somehow this is a holy place, and so the closer they come to this place, the closer they're coming to God, and that's not truth at all, okay? The closer anybody that comes to Christ, the closer he should come to people who he dwells within, right? And so, yes. But it's hard to come through those doors, right? It's like, oh, I got to get my life straightened up before I go. That's a lie, okay? But that's what we see here, okay? Because in the temple model, that was the Holy of Holies, right? In the temple model, the closer you got to the temple, the closer you were getting to the presence of God. The presence of God dwelled at that time in a box, behind a curtain, in a room, in a place, right? And so the closer you got to that, the closer you were. And the tax collector stood at a distance. He wouldn't even look up at heaven. You ever wonder why we bow our heads and pray? Think about that a minute, right? He wouldn't even look up at heaven. But instead, he beat his breast and said, God, have mercy on me, a sinner. That should be all of our posture, okay? He doesn't compare. He doesn't justify. He doesn't defend. He just confesses. He just confesses, have mercy on me, a sinner. And that's the way we all come, guys. It's the way we all come. It's no different. Have mercy on me. If you look at that in the Greek context, it's be merciful toward me. It's also, it can be taken, make atonement for me, right? Jesus is beginning to give a glimpse here of what he is about to do, right? Because we all come unworthy. We all come as sinners. And the only way that we have mercy is because he paid the price. It never changed. Right? It never changed. Without the shedding of blood, there can be no remission of sin. That never changed. It's never changed. That was just the ultimate sacrifice. His death on the cross paid the price. There's no more sacrifice. There's no more lambs. There's no more none of it. But it had to be. It had to be that way. It had to happen. It hadn't happened yet as Jesus is telling this. But he's like, look, when you come asking for atonement, I'm gonna do this. This guy knows I can't fix myself, right? Ask that guy over there. He'll tell you. Ask the Pharisee on the other side of the room over there. He'll be more than happy to tell you how broke I am. I can't do anything for me. And I'm asking you. I'm coming before the Lord. And Jesus says, this is how it happens. This is how it works. He throws himself entirely on the mercy of God. Notice the two differences. The Pharisee says, here's my resume. The other guy says, here I am, broke, in need. Look at how Jesus responds to the two, right? Look at what he's laying the case out here, right? He's laying the case. You guys that I'm talking to, because you know this, you do this, right? He's saying, you do this. You show up, because I know I hear you, right? I hear your prayers. You come in and go, whew, I'm doing it. I'm doing pretty good. I'm pretty good. not like this guy. And Jesus says, this is what I want you to understand. He ends with a statement that would have stunned these people. Okay? Stunned them. Because what he says is that the tax collector goes home justified. What? The tax collector goes home justified. And they're like, you've got to be kidding me. I tell you, this man, rather than the other, went home justified before God. The tax collector, not the Pharisee. And they're like, what you talking about? Justified? Declared righteous? Accepted? The cross in this is anticipated. The cross is anticipated. Jesus is like, yeah, you all have shut them out. I have come to give them hope. And I'm going to capitalize that hope with what I'm about to do, with what's getting ready to happen. It hadn't happened yet, but this is what's getting ready to happen. I'm going to lay down my life for them. For all of us. Justification is not earned. And if we ever get into the place where we think that it can be, we become legalistic and we're off course. We're off course. It's very important to understand. It's granted. The Pharisee is beginning to trust in his obedience. You can tell it by his prayer. Lord, I am thankful that I am not like other people. Right? You've done messed up. You've done hit the wrong button. The tax collector trusted in God's mercy. Listen, mercy always wins. Mercy always wins. So why does this parable fit here? Because we're heading to Easter. Okay? We're heading to Easter. Time is moving quickly as we move into the month of March. We're heading to Good Friday. We're heading toward the cross. And Jesus now is making something very clear. The cross is not for those who think they deserve it. Okay? It's not for those who think they deserve it. It's for those who know they don't. You hear me say that sometimes. I deserve death. I deserve, that's where I'm at. That's exactly what I deserve. I don't deserve anything. I deserve hell. And here's the thing. We all do. Right? We all do. Right? The wages of sin is death. And I am a sinner. And so there's it. That's it. That's what I deserve. You see, here's the thing. The Pharisee would probably walk past Calvary unimpressed. It's filthy. The tax collector would have fallen on his feet, fallen on his face in tears. That's the difference. The cross offends the prideful, but the cross rescues the humble. And this is where it hits us, because this parable can make us a little uncomfortable, right? It makes us a little uncomfortable because most of us are not obviously rebellious tax collectors, right? We're trying to do the right thing. We're trying to do. If you're coming to church, you're bringing your kids, you're doing those things, it's like, I'm trying to do the right thing. Exactly. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. And sometimes when we hear this, it's like, well, I'm doing the right thing. I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm coming to church. I'm trying to get here. I'm trying to do what I'm supposed to. I'm studying, reading, I'm going to groups and doing all these things. I mean, we're church people, right? We serve, we give, we show up. It's a warning, okay? Because when we start doing all those things, it's easy to begin trusting in things. You begin trusting in service, you begin trusting in attendance, and you begin trusting in box checking. Your pastors talk about this a lot, right? Checking the boxes. Checking the boxes. Nope. It's not about checking boxes. It's not about checking boxes. Slowly, subtly, if we're not careful and not reminded, we begin to trust our activities more than we trust His mercy. I'm always careful when I see somebody stumble. And I'm reminded immediately when I see something, it's like, you can be judgmental, or you can remember the words of Paul and say, except for the grace of God, there go I. I see all kinds of things happen to teenagers and to young families and young people, and I look at it and I go, yeah, it could have been me. right? And so that needs to be our prayer. Our prayer should shift instead of, Lord, I'm so much better than this guy over here. Our prayer should be, Lord, I could be right where they are had you not intervened, had you not stepped in, had you not saved me from that. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that I'm not struggling with what this person is struggling with because you saved me from it. You steered me. I would have dove in that as deep as I could, right? I would have made that mistake, right? That's where we really should be. We got to be careful to say, God, have mercy on me. Instead of, God, thank you that I'm doing better than most. You see, the shift is almost invisible, but it kills us. It'll kill your spirit. It'll kill your spirit. You always have to remember that He saved you from something. He saved you from sin. He saved you from the death that's resulted of your sin. And Paul never got over that, right? He was a rascal. He really was. He was a pretty good rascal. I mean, when he got saved, he was on his way to gather up Christians and torture them. Okay, that's a pretty rough indictment, right? And so when he realized that Jesus was willing to use him, despite of that, he never got over that. He's like, oh wow, okay, I'm gonna go down swinging. I don't care if you lock me up or put me up or dig me a hole or whatever you do. I'm gonna go down swinging because I do not deserve this at all. What it teaches us, as Jesus approaches the cross, He clarifies the kind of heart that receives it. It's not proud. It's not defensive. It's not comparative. Those are not the hearts that receive the cross. The kind of hearts that receive the cross are the humble, the broken, and the dependent. That's what He's looking for, right? That's what He's looking for. It's okay to be thankful for the things that He's allowed you to avoid, but you need to remember that He did it, not you. Not you. The kingdom belongs to the poor in spirit, and the cross is embraced by those who know they need it. So what do we take away from this? What are our walking points? I think it's a good thing this week to just take an examination of your spiritual posture. Take a few moments and think about that. When you pray, do you present your performance or your need? Be careful about guarding against comparison. Comparison will always create artificial righteousness. When we look at everybody else and go, well, I'm a lot better than them, you're in trouble. The standard is not other people. The standard is always holiness. Yeah, you may be better than most, but you ain't nothing compared to Him. You're nothing compared to Him. I'm nothing compared to Him. None of us are. That'll humble all of us. We should practice honest confession. Revival doesn't begin with self-improvement, okay? It doesn't. And we make that's a trap all the time. It's like, I don't want to go to church. I need to get myself in better. No. Revival never starts with self-improvement. It begins with, God, have mercy on me, a sinner. That's where revival begins. God, have mercy on me. It's simple. It's honest. It's raw. God, have mercy on me, a sinner. In the first mini-series, we learned to hear the King. In the second, we learned to live like the King. This mini-series, as we come to Easter, teaches us to kneel before the King. It humbles us. It humbles us. It brings us in that place because the cross is not something we admire from a distance. It's something that we approach on our knees. Two men went to the temple, both religious, both prayed, both were sincere. One came home justified. As we go toward Easter, the question is not how good am I? The question is, do I know how deeply I need mercy? Do you? Let me pray for us. Father, I thank you. I thank you for stripping away the comparison. It's so easy, Father, when we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, when we're trying. I mean, we're trying. We're coming to church. We're bringing the kids. We're making time. We're trying to give back. It's easy to become prideful. Take that pride away, Father. Guard us, Father, from trusting in our own performance. Father, give us the heart of the tax collector. Help us to be honest. Help us to be humble. Help us to be dependent on you. Father, as we move toward the cross, prepare us to receive it in the right way. Father, I don't know where anyone is this morning, but you know every heart. You know everyone that's here. And so, Father, maybe this has been just a gut check for some of us, all of us. You know, has been for me. Teach us to be humble. Teach us to be obedient the right way, knowing that we have nothing apart from you, that we are nothing apart from you, and that we're all grateful for the gift that you offer through your death on the cross. Father, however we need to respond to this morning, Father, I pray that we'll be obedient to do as you've called us. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen. Would you please stand?